Someone might have sit over there.
Sorry. But it's working, that's all that matters.
I got fire protection. I got the police. They're all keeping an eye on me. What does that mean? Are you ready? Are you ready?
No, it's almost done.
Henrietta, how are you? Good. Good to see you. These were so far away. Should I wear it or should I not? Huh?
You're fine. You
You
don't have to.
good with it?
Yeah,
I'm fine with
I've
you.
been double shot.
no, you're good.
I'm like,
When I talk, I'll probably speak.
That's fine.
That's fine.
You don't have to. I just brought them in case some people are. Why don't we?
How's my treasure?
I'm fine, I brought my old car.
I saw it, I was out there looking at it. And that's a lover of antiquated vehicles also, and we were both very impressed. My problem is, we want to go cruising.
No, stopping isn't like, you know, it has power brake, still full power of my feet.
You can go whenever you're ready.
You ready? Okay. Call to order the meeting for the Cleveland Area Neighborhood Association for August 16th, 2021. Thank you all for coming tonight. We've had a busy last couple of weeks. And now we've got everything kind of done. We're going to start looking to the futures of what our next moves are and what our next concerns are. We saw a couple of visitors here tonight. So if we want to get started, we start off with our treasury report. We did have one now. Yeah, money.
We even have it written. Well, our bank balance is $940.66, which includes a credit for $425 for sale of an ad. We're still waiting to be reimbursed for our payment of $400 to insurance and for the kiosk at $149.20. I've got to check on that. Some of these I sent in like June 1st, so I think we should be getting paid sometime soon. I'll check on that. We have pending deposits to make that came in since the last meeting. $225 for ads, 3 at $75. And the safety fair ones, we didn't quite make 300, but we did make $289.
Great. Great. That's awesome. Thank you very much. Our Cedar Rapids Police Department update.
Overall, Cleveland continues to be fairly low in overall crime and accounts for 1.64% of total crime. And Cedar Rapids just did have 3 burglaries reported in the last month over in the area. 2 of them were at the same location. Really moving news on that. That it'd be kind of a roommate issue, so I'm not so certain that it was really a burglary. And then there was one at 120 17th Street Southwest that was reported. Again, the recruits have started week number 11 at the police department, so they're working through that process right now. Looking forward to them graduating, being able to hit the street. We've also hired 2 certified officers that'll start on August 30th. So that'll help bolster some numbers on the street. That's nice, getting certified officers that are already certified and don't have to go through all the academy training per se. I know last week we did have a concern about the speeding issue over here on 15th Street. So I did have Traffic Bureau, they sent out did a speed study over there. There were 3,607 vehicles that came through the area where it was being tested. The fastest was 52 miles an hour. The average speed was 19 miles per hour. 50% was at 20% and 85%. The total cars were at 25 miles per hour. So the actual speed limit is good over there. I did ask for traffic engineering. I came out the next day and looked. There's no signs indicating what the speed limit is. So they have agreed to put up some signs. And they are also going to restrict parking on the east side of the street and then paint a yellow center line down the middle. So that should alleviate any of the accident concerns that were at A and 15th, right in that area. So hopefully, I don't recall in the emails when that was going to be done, but I think that it's within the next like 5 or 6 weeks that'll get taken care of. So hopefully that will resolve any issues.
And Brandy has been contacted, the neighbor that was, the concerned neighbor that was at the last meeting. So she was happy to hear that the report was followed up on very quickly, so thank you.
Yep. Well, I did my part with traffic engineering. So John got over there pretty quick and was able to address some things too. So
We appreciate you guys, taking care of these. I don't feel we ask for much, but you guys have always been right there to help us when we do, and that speaks volumes of your concern for public safety. When I lived on the other side of town, we had some neighbors that would complain that people were speeding through the neighborhood, just lightning speeding through the neighborhood. You guys did a check on that for a couple hours, with the 20-mile-an-hour speed limit, the average speed limit.
yeah.
But when
No,
you're
I come over.
75, 80 years old, you're sitting down by the street, when a car goes by 20 mile an hour, you think it's fast.
Yeah.
And that's usually the case with most people.
Yeah. And I've come over on radar. I think the fastest is maybe 28, 29 miles an hour. So yeah, it's in line with what
Sure.
the study shows. And I don't get it. You could have a one-off where you could be out mowing in a car, just goes to flying down through there.
Every now and then they do.
Yep.
Or if that 52 hits your car, you don't
Right.
let us out.
Yep.
Yes.
That would possibly.
There's always some, I was curious about the motorcyclists.
Yep.
How do they do? They always seem like they're going really fast, because they pass everything in sight.
Yep.
But they go really slow. I take that. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And thank you for McGruff being out Saturday. He was a big hit. We got some good pictures of him. I brought my little dune buggy toy over. It was kind of an added feature.
Yeah.
Put her in the trees, and a lot of the kids got their pictures taken sitting in it. Got McGruff, and Mr. Shucks came over for a while, pictures with it. And everybody just really enjoyed being part of it. But McGruff went around and got a lot of good pictures with them, with the kids, talking with them and having fun with them. So thank you very much for doing that for us.
Yep. No problem.
And our next is the Cedar Rapids Fire Department.
All right, good
At the
evening.
end of the hour.
Good evening. I know Nicole's great about putting the neighborhood news out on the electronic website and whatnot, on Facebook. The only thing that I'll call your attention to specifically, listeners' questions, is our modified COVID protocols in city facilities. So as of, I think it was about 2 weeks ago, we made a determination to require masking in all city facilities. So because the city facilities just pay attention to that, and that's being evaluated basically on about a weekly basis, just looking at the CDC numbers and that type of stuff. Just a couple of other things. I think I mentioned last month that fire department's planning an open house on October 3rd. With the increase in COVID numbers, we're not really going to advertise too much for the next week or two. We're going to kind of see what we're going to do. We may postpone that. We wanted it to be in conjunction with Fire Prevention Week, but again, if the numbers kind of stay where they're at or keep climbing, we may push that back and do it at another time. So I'll keep you updated on that.
Right, so do that.
Yeah, it's
Very
just,
smart.
we are fortunate in that we tend to get, the last one we did was for the old building, but, some decent numbers of that, just put people inside, especially in a school, you know, it could be 70 or it could be 30, out, 2 weeks outside, so, yeah, just with that, we're taking with that. We have had recent rash fires, it's been a variety of factors, nothing really trending other than cooking still, and always, has been for a long time, it continues to be your number one cause of fires, is cooking fire. And that's the same as statewide, same as it is nationally, so. Not out of line there, but, just remind everybody just to be diligent with that, and again, we're seeing an increase in that, and then just, of course, with the dry conditions that we've had, just be very wary of sources of ignition, when you're out in your yard and working around, it's obviously some very dry ones out there, so. Hopefully we'll get some rain soon and take care of that, so. Other than that, I'll just make some questions.
With the drought that we've been having, and they just issued a water warning out for Colorado, Nevada, some other areas that really been dry. And I know we're not that dry. You get reports on the water table here on Cedar Rapids area. Are our aquifers full, or are we?
We just at basically at the director level, we'll get updates, general updates from utilities. I know earlier in the summer, things were looking pretty good on the wells and stuff like that. I have not talked to the utility director lately on that, but there's been no discussion yet of any water restriction discussions. If going back to, I think it was 2011, we had this severe drought, and I know we were starting to implement some water restriction plans at that point, never put into effect, but they were starting to do that, so I have not heard discuss that lately, but that's certainly something we'll ask.
You can probably believe that we don't have a problem because we gave them
We're pretty
heard more about concern.
Yeah, we have a great water department, and we've got, our insurance services office rating for the fire department is a 2, and quite honestly, the water department is a big reason for that, just because the water system that we have, the wells that they have, they stay on top of that pretty well, and so, again, there's kind of things mentioned as being drought conditions like this, but, some of our water system too, kind of different patterns north of us and that kind of stuff too, with how rivers flow and whatnot. Sure. So, but I'll certainly ask.
Yeah, I was just curious. None of it is good news, and from hearing about other parts, especially the western part, Nebraska west is really bad.
Yeah.
And then you go down southeast and other homes. So you need to adjust so you get some of that. Of course, you don't get as much, but it's good to know that we're safer now.
Yep.
That's good.
Yep, absolutely.
Any questions for our fire chief? Taking to anything in the city?
Not that, but I did mention the McDonald's farm was closed.
Yes, yeah, I'm sorry, yeah, that was update since the state. Yeah.
Send them back to the farm. Okay,
We don't know if they found them.
our city update, and that was our safe Cedar Rapids update.
Sure, and at the CCR, I don't really have a whole lot, like St. Paul said, in Cleveland Park neighborhood is usually pretty quiet. Citywide though, the majority of our found calls for the last month are in the tier Cs. About 75% of the found call letters that I send out are for tier C types of activity, which is like barking dog, loud music, loud parties, or C1 violations, which is if the city has gone out to a property and noted at least once or if they picked up garbage and debris. Because we know that those tier Cs, they might seem like they're like smaller, so it does take 3 of those activities before a property can become a nuisance property. However, they do really impact neighborhoods. people can still, whether it be call me or email me if there are issues or concerns that they have on a property. They can call me directly. They can also use the city MyCR app as a way to get some of that communication to those city departments if there's an issue or something going on the property. But they can also call me personally if they don't know either how to use that app or like what department the issue should be routed to. They can just call me, or if you're talking to someone and maybe it isn't something that you see, that they tell you X, Y, Z is going on in the neighborhood, by all means, give them my name and phone number or my email address.
And we've been helping neighbors, a lot of neighbors don't have a smartphone or they don't understand how to download the app, or there's a language barrier. So a few neighbors have actually come to my door and just asked me to submit them. So the app, I mean, I don't submit them under my account when neighbors ask, but the app's been very responsive, so, and pretty minimal, so that's good too.
Okay.
But, yeah, as Hannah, we've been trying to put the information on the app in our email blasts, and then once in a while we'll post it on our Facebook, so just to keep encouraging
Good.
neighbors to use it.
Absolutely, no, that's good to hear that you're encouraging them to use it as well. That's awesome. That's really all that I have. If someone has a concern or question about a property, I can answer it.
We're pleased that with our new system, we're reaching farther out into our neighborhood and beyond people who are aware of what's going on in the Cleveland, Canna area. And the information that we're putting out is being sought after by a lot of people, not just in the neighborhood association area, throughout this part of Cedar Rapids, which is not made a pretty valuable asset for us. So when you give us something, we put it down there, it's getting out there. So we're glad we can be a service in that. City update.
Jeff is not going to be in attendance, and Ashley Giannone is going to be late, so we can hold off on that.
Okay, good. Well, at this point, we have our Honorable Mayor Hart is going to visit us tonight. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, and thank you all for serving. I mean, all the numbers show that neighborhood associations really strengthen their neighborhoods in lots of ways, and certainly one of them is the crime is reduced in neighborhoods to get together and they watch out. That's, this community of the original, the entire community showed how caring people are and how much they help their neighbors and even strangers. So, but thank you for your service and thanks for letting me come. The COVID and the Drake Show caused disruptions for all of you and also caused all the officials like me not to get out of some of those issues, but I'm glad to be here today. I will just mention that although some people say requiring masks in our city facilities is a mask mandate, it's not. It's just a requirement. You can get all of your services online or on the phone. So if you really are troubled by wearing a mask, you can do that. It's not a mask mandate, despite what some people think. Next, later this month, I do get to swear in the new police officers, and that's one of the swearing out new police officers and firefighters is one of the best things you can do every year. So that's a great thing. The drought, I heard the other day that the last time Cedar Rapids had rain that accumulated an inch, half an inch or more was June 22nd. June 22nd. And you probably started to read the information about the census, but Cedar Rapids, our population from 2010 to 2020 grew 9%. Des Moines' population grew 5%. And yes, Des Moines bigger. Des Moines Metro is much bigger, but Des Moines is really only a little more than 200,000, and Cedar Rapids now is almost 138,000. So we grew 9%, they grew 5%. We brought in about 700 more people than Des Moines did. So there's a lot of positive things going on. People still wanting to come here, and we all need to encourage people to join and get them engaged. We continue, of course, to work on our streets. We're maybe on the street update here. And yeah, I'm sorry you're going to have to detour around some streets once in a while, especially because, as you know, our construction season is short, so we have to get a lot done. But we're spending about $18 million a year on streets, and we're not borrowing that money. And 35% is coming from the people who don't live here, who are driving on our streets. We don't pay any taxes to maintain our streets. Before the local option sales tax, the city was spending about $5 million a year in borrowing that. So the local option sales tax has been really important. And now, the arterial, many of the arterial streets have been finished. So about 75% of the money going forward will be in neighborhoods, neighborhood streets. So just be patient. If your street, the streets you drive on are not there yet, we'll get there. But there's been 60 or 66 miles of streets that have been improved since the last several years through the local office sales tax. So it's a big deal, and that's going to be able to help in order to extend. And the reason we need to do that now, extend it now, is because we plan these projects 2 and 3 and 4 years out. Sometimes we plan a project that's 4 phases. And if we don't know we're going to have money to do phase 2 and 3 and 4, we better not start phase 1. So it's really important that we get that decision made, and hopefully people will support. I think generally the support is pretty strong for that. And then I will leave it in that. Yeah, it's election season, so please don't believe everything you read or hear about. Okay? Just not all true. So, thanks again for your service. Neighborhood Association.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Best of luck in your run. Next, we have Hannah Ireland.
Yeah.
She is our automatic traffic enforcement. So she's the one we get to talk to. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. So I just wanted to touch over some of the basics of the program and give a brief update. We've had our ordinance going now from July 2019 up until now. So just going around to the neighborhoods and giving an update on what's going on. So to start, it's a local Cedar Rapids ordinance that holds the registered owner of the vehicle responsible for the applicable civil fee that these automated traffic enforcement systems identify vehicles going 12 miles or more over the speed limit. They are in all locations that are high crash, high risk locations, and it actually is high risk for our first responders, for our police, but also for the citizens that would be on the side of the road if we were to just enforce traffic laws traditionally. So it is not a replacement by any means, but it is a tool we use to enhance traffic safety. There's 9 locations throughout Cedar Rapids. I will say probably the more popular, most, well, infamous, I should say, known ones are on the interstate. There's 5 other intersections throughout Cedar Rapids that have automated traffic enforcement. If you want to specifically see where these locations are, what the actual cameras look like, where the signage is, you can go on our website and find a map, and then it also includes pictures of the signage, so you kind of know what to look for. Some people miss it, and then when they see what it is they're looking for, they see it a little more clearly. Let's see. We also have, our website has a lot of additional information about the program. The first thing I want to bring your attention to is that anyone that receives automated traffic enforcement citation can contest that citation online. A Cedar Rapids police officer then will review the contest form and determine whether or not it should be upheld or dismissed altogether. There are some exclusions in our ordinance that would deem the citation canceled or dismissed. And those kind of situations are like vehicles reported stolen, normal sessions going through red lights, that kind of thing. And there's others that you want to look at on our website, we have our ordinance there as well. So again, on our website, we also have we publish a monthly newsletter that goes over how many citations we've issued that month, speed, that breaks it down to speed and red light. Just as an example, they're always 2 months behind. So June, there was 20,215 speed violations and 474 red light citations.
I was one of those.
So, it does go over, the revenue generated, for the month and then the overall. You can see the top speeds reported by month. Right now, our highest speed is cited is 113 miles per hour on the interstate. So that was obviously, that was,
Through the S curves, that's pretty.
Yeah. That would obviously be a $500 citation. The citations are broken down between how far you're traveling over the speed limit. So the more basic, the first tier is $75. I'd say the majority of the people fall in that. It's 12 to 20 miles an hour with the speed limit. 21 to 25 miles per hour with the speed limit is $100. And then 26 to 30 miles an hour with the speed limit is $250. And then anything over 31 miles per hour or more over the speed limit is a $500 citation. So obviously we are penalizing those that are obviously going fast and at more dangerous speeds.
Do they get more than just a letter if they're going 100
No,
mile an hour?
no.
It used to be if you went so far over in a police stop, you had to go see a judge and explain yourself. But
Yep, so this
that still
is,
costs you $500 in order.
right, yeah, so this is still, they would still receive the same citation as, everyone else. I will say, we are starting to prosecute people that are not, paying their automated traffic enforcement citations. We're filing municipal infractions on them. Obviously, we're giving them, plenty of time to contest the citation. We're even sending out a packet with all the citations in it well ahead of time. And if they just decide not to pay the citation, then we are taking some of those individuals to court, small claims court. But it never goes to the criminal side of things, so. If they get the same notice, everyone does.
Do you interact with other state officials when they're out of state people, or you just deal directly with the owner of the car with the violation? If somebody from Illinois gets a ticket and doesn't pay, do you deal with them, or
Right.
does the state work with you to find them?
No, I still would just send them to the registered owner's listed address. And, we have filed on people that are out of state, but they use a process server to try and find them and serve on their papers personally, but if they can't find them, then it's just, we still don't ever work with our state, like DOT or any other state's DOT, because these never get reported to the,
We're late. And
they never get reported to the state, so it doesn't ever go against the driving record.
I just think we should point out that there are fewer accidents, because when we got the cameras, far fewer accidents with injuries, because people have slowed down. And it avoids our police officers having to be out of harm's way, especially trying to, slow people down on the S curve. We have all the signs that DOT will allow us out there. We're not trying to trigger anyone. We really want people to slow down. And that the money is used for what we say. That's what we can hire more police officers, so.
just out of curiosity, one day I always do, but I time myself this time. And if you go 55 mile an hour lights on diagonal. If the lights on, they have it. It takes you 3 minutes to get there.
Isn't that,
If you go 6 miles over, it takes you 2 minutes and 35 seconds to get to the same thing.
It's
If
pretty,
you ain't got
Right.
12 seconds
right?
to give,
How fast did it take you when you were doing 113?
What?
I said, how fast did it take you when you were doing 113?
I'd rather go in my car.
you're right though, when we were looking at this, what was that, in 2018, Ed? It was like a minute and a half you might save if you were going over to 12 miles an hour. I mean, it is for safety, and I will say that like, as a younger person, just my personal thought is the fact that like there was a younger officer who was hit pretty early in their career and is like permanently disabled, cannot work in law enforcement anymore because they can't meet the physical requirements. And that's pretty devastating. So those are the kind of people we're not trying to put, any of our officers in harm's way. And I will also say, as a huge user of technology, contrary to some other localities that have similar kind of traffic control devices, ours actually comes up on maps, on your Apple Maps as well as on Google Maps. It actually tells you, traffic device ahead. So if you're using things like that, which a lot of travelers are, even though we definitely get the emails of saying, I'm never coming back here, I guarantee that they were warned, they had a lot of visual cues, and it is something that is really important for our safety.
Absolutely.
A lot of times, the whole traffic's slowing down, it's kind of like a plane and then it takes out. And so you just stay with the flow, really.
Yeah, the flow of traffic, I can say I travel southbound and northbound every day, and the flow of traffic is definitely decreased, and that was a huge, when people are contesting their citations, they're like, I was blowing up the flow of traffic. Well, I know what the flow of traffic is during some of the peak travel hours, and it is not 75 miles an hour.
Right.
Well, they just weren't keeping up with the flow of traffic.
Well,
It's the other day's fault. The time frame when the state was deciding whether it was legal or not, whether it may not happen, even being up there going north and south as much as I did not understand that time, it was scary. Because everybody knew, somebody in the office told me, shut them off. And boy, everybody thought this was just a free reign, let's go have fun, because they're not gonna give us a ticket. And 75 mile an hour seemed to me to be the norm. And as soon as they turned them back on, we could just tell everybody was dying down. And even, not just before they were getting to, but where they were, getting close to their no. But that's 60 mile an hour on 42nd Street and Collins Road area, where everybody slows down to 60, 62 now. They do follow through. You can tell the young ones, and you can tell the out of state, because they're leading through. But for the most part, people are really, when that was off, it really scared me. They out there.
The average speeds definitely went down.
Yeah.
And to kind of piggyback off of what Ms. Councilman Van Orny said, it's not just dangerous for the police officers on the side of the road, but they're obviously pulling over citizens, or there's already vehicles that are not running or crashes, and people are always, that's a huge distraction, and that with going at that rate of speed, it's also dangerous for the citizens on the side of the road. So when people request that they have an officer, it's like, that's more dangerous for you as well, and or your child that was driving your car or whatever, so. Does anyone have any questions for me?
You weren't here when they designed it for you.
What?
You weren't here when they put it in for you.
I wasn't in my, not original.
Okay. You won't have to answer this question.
But, well, try.
Okay. When you put in the crosswalks, lights, they put a big number on that system for it. Now, I understand the laws that we are not a driver to use that as a determination of whether they're trying to continue good or need to stop.
Okay.
I use it for that.
Okay,
If it's down to 3 or 4 seconds and I'm not close to intersect, I should stop with it. Okay? A lot of other people do this too that I've talked to. But I've noticed that everywhere you have your cameras, you do not have those. Why? You have one on the block before, you have one on the block after, and you count. But at that particular area where you would have your check camera, you didn't put one in. It's on 10th Street, it's on the interstate, it's out here. Everybody else, everywhere else has it, but the ones that have the cameras on do not.
I do not have an answer to that. That would be, right, I know, but I thought maybe I could help. I believe that would have to be more traffic engineering. They are the ones that,
I'm just curious, because I was driving through and looking at it, and I use it, even if it doesn't turn the light when it hits 0. Some of them wait 2, 3 seconds after that. I still use that if I'm close, and there's 4 seconds left, and I'm beyond they call it they're not getting able to stop safely.
right,
If I hit my brakes, I slide in the intersection, so I go on through because I know the light's going to change. But I can safely make it through at that point. But if it's before that point, then I need to stop. And I just was curious. Why don't
I get it.
you offer us that opportunity to know how soon that light's going to change on that intersection so that we can time ourselves better? It just makes sense to me that you would give us a tool that we could use that we're not legally supposed to. You're not supposed to do anything we do.
I'm also gonna say that the public, not all the public is smart enough to notice that. So,
But everybody notices what the numbers, they all notice how close or they are to the electric. But the only places that I notice that they're not is where your traffic lights are.
I will,
Cameras are.
I will definitely pass your question on. I have no idea what the criteria
The
is.
red light ones too, I mean, they're set up like the speed, limit. You don't get them just for barely going through a red light. I mean, there's,
Oh, I
It's,
understand that, but it would just be so much easier. It could be a safety tool that we as the driving public can use because I know we use it. People will look at it and they'll see there's 2 or 3 seconds left and you're slamming on the brakes. So they don't get to the intersection, they don't really understand it, but that's on areas not policed by the cameras. But I was just curious as to why all the other ones in town have it, but those particular places do not.
I'm sure, I
I'm
don't
sure they have an answer to that.
Right,
But
I don't-
they do.
think that it's just specifically those intersections that don't have them. I'm sure there's other intersections that don't have them,
They're
so.
all over this town.
They are all over, but I'm sure there's still other ones that don't have them. But I can definitely pass this on and find out. I have no idea when it comes to the ATE systems and when those number devices were, like, I don't know the timeline. You know, maybe they were there before this traffic cameras, I don't know. So I will look into that for you.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
I also think you have a lot of faith in the public, so, to use those as a tool.
They do. They do. A lot of people run them because they know they got 3.5 seconds or 4 seconds left. A lot of people will stop. But I see it as a plus for us as drivers to know that we need to be aware of how soon before the light can turn so we can make a good decision instead of stupid one that we run. Turn red. And that's when all the accidents happen. So, okay. Kevin, thank you so much. Anybody else have any other questions for? Well, now we're going to jump back up to our city update because we have our honorable councilman with us this afternoon.
For one, I have cookies again. So you'll probably need a napkin. They're just the right amount of gooey. But they're good. So please have one, so I don't have to take them home. I think
My only updates really is just a new form of communication that I'm using. I have a newsletter. So if you're not on social media, this is something that you can get an email. I do a look back of kind of what I've been up to, as well as a forecasting of a couple of weeks in the future. And just try to link it and everything like that with different programs that we have. So in this last issuance, I call it my Sunday paper. So every Sunday, I'll kind of recap what happened over the week. And I share a lot of pictures and stories about kind of what we were doing. So, for example, with the derecho, I gave some personal narrative about what that felt like for me, as well as talking about the PACT program and also our neighborhood PACT program, PACT, and included links in there. So if you are not on social media, it's linked for you so that you can easily reference what I'm talking about. So that's just a nice tool that if you're interested, you can let me know your email addresses and I can get you signed up for that. Otherwise, on my Twitter and on my Facebook page, the council page, I do pin it to the top, so it's the first thing that you see in my thread.
And we'll put it in the email in the minutes too.
So, well, then our next is our second annual Kids Safe and Wellness Care wrap up. And turn that over to Nicole.
Yes, so our second annual safety fair was this past Saturday, August 14th. Instead of having it be 5 hours starting super early, it was from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. We were competing with the Iowa State Fair and the Sweet Corn Festival, not realizing that when we scheduled it, but we still had, we're going to guesstimate between maybe 80 and 90 kids. That doesn't include just neighbors that had stopped by, and maybe some people that didn't obviously complete a registration form. I would say for changing up how we did things this year and COVID, I'm very impressed with that. A lot of people said that they had seen the advertisements on Facebook, and then a lot of neighbors were just stopping by and saying, hey, I saw something was going on at the park. So it worked out really, really well. We had about 12 local community organizations, like Willis Davy, Cedar Rapids Transit, Young Parents Network, Parents Education Consortium, just a lot of organizations that had a lot of great information for neighbors. And then, of course, we had McGruff, the Crime Dog, Mr. Shucks had come. We had Fire Station, or Engine 5, Station 5, the whole crew. That's the second time we've been at the park in a month for a party, so thank you to them. They're super patient with all the kids, and they do a great job. And there were just so many kids just running around. You could just tell they needed that day. And we had multiple families comment how they really appreciate the fact that it is free. There was one family that had attended and just said, this is the first event we've been able to come to since spring of 2019 that was completely free for us to come. We did not have to spend a dime. We did end up doing our annual fundraiser. Obviously, we normally do a pancake breakfast, but we did the picnic lunch instead. We did give a lot of free meals away, but we still raised almost $300, so that was definitely worth our time. And we have to say a huge thank you to Hy-Vee for donating all the hot dogs and buns, which was awesome. Trying to think of what else. What else was exciting that I missed? I feel like it was just a great event.
We gave out 25
backpacks.
backpacks.
Yeah, 24 backpacks that Central Church of Christ had donated some goodies that they put inside, like flashlights, the Safe Kids Lynn County coloring book, Sky Zone passes, just stuff to kind of wrap up the summer.
Chocolate. I heard chocolate was in there.
Yep, some of the backpacks had candy.
Good chocolate.
And Denise reminded me, Hannah did donate 2 car seats. So 2 families won a car seat that is going to be fitted by the certified technicians of the police department. So Shannon from Safe Kids Lynn County is organizing that this week. So again, it was just a really great event overall, and I think neighbors needed it. So, yep, we had they almost gave out 100 bike helmets. They didn't have that many left over at the end. So there had to have been more kids than what actually registered. Stuart Baxter Funeral Services, I had a chance to talk to Jacob, who's one of the co-owners. He's a Lynn County Rotarian, so a few of the Rotarians were there volunteering, as well as people from the Southside Target store fitting the helmets, and they had donated 100 of them for families just to get a helmet to go home, because Jacob had said he would much rather pay for a helmet now than have to handle a child's funeral. And I said, that's a perfect reason for you guys to sponsor this, and they were just so excited to be a part of it. So I definitely feel like that could be an ongoing relationship with them and other aspects of what Canada does. So I'm excited to kind of see where that partnership goes.
And a lot of use of the playground equipment.
Oh,
Ages.
yes.
There were kids of all ages, young, old, really old. And the splash pad got used. A
Oh, yeah.
lot of little wet kids running around.
Yeah,
One thing that I noticed was that there were people throughout the day, not organizers, but they would go out around and they were picking up trash and was left in the garbage for us around the thing. So when we left, it was clean, and when we got there, I was clean.
and this year Amy brought the recycling bins. So we did not have a city recycling bin there, but we had 2 that we had set up just for all the water bottles and things we knew would be recycling, so.
Mount Vernon didn't go through all the trash in advance, so I'm not trained, so I don't know. Picking up all of the plastic bottles in the trash.
Yeah.
We got a bag full, I'm sure we missed some, but
Yeah,
anything not in the trash.
It was worth
Is a plus.
yeah, it was definitely worth doing.
Tremendous amount of compliments from people who have not been to the, here for a year or so on the playground equipment. I'm gonna top this one day and I because I think this is a tremendous thing that happened to our park. Saying how great it was and how the layout of it really made it a friendly place. I'm thinking they would be coming back to their kids. Again, because how friendly the park is.
Well, they like your buggy.
Oh, my little buggy.
And that's what I was, so in my look back of like what happened this week was a picture of me and Lady, the unofficial mascot for Canada.
Yes, Lady is our
In
unofficial
Georgia's
mascot.
doing fun.
And don't
Don't,
nobody tattletale to anybody at the city that we did that, because I don't think we were supposed to park on the grass. It's our secret.
It was just one and it really,
Everybody loved it.
over well with the kids.
Yeah.
I've got, you ever seen the movie, Lightning McQueen?
Cars.
Cars, like, I have it's a windshield, screen that I put on our back board and I couldn't fit it in my initially, so the Doom buggy had eyes in it and it was, yeah, the kid looked at it.
Very cute.
And there are a lot of,
I had it for a year or two, and for all cars and stuff, I got these little kids just flock to it.
Even my brother had his picture.
yep.
Oh, so did Mr. Shannon, I found out, I didn't know that, but you.
And Mr. Shutt
We got a
and
picture.
Russ, high five each other.
We
It
actually,
was just the last thought, I said, the car should be quite speed, and I'm planning on going to the change until they put this in, and my oil is here, and so I thought, well, I can't show it up here, I'll show it here.
and we take pictures, obviously, so a lot of the families, they didn't have cameras, they didn't have smartphones, so we just took pictures and we said, if you have access, they'll be on our Facebook page. And I have to download them all and then put them on our website, but that way families can save them and print them and do whatever they want with them. So I think it makes people pretty happy that these are memories that are documented too. So.
Very successful, I thought, overall. Got the point across we wanted to. It was a fun day that everybody enjoyed. No problem, no concerns along the way. It was great for all the adults to get to chat with some of the parents that are new to the city, to our neighborhood, and to let them know what things we have to offer them. Say we had 700 people move into our city that need to know what we offer. I think that was a good way.
It was somewhat, community services, like young parents network isn't necessarily the same thing, but a lot of the people attending were in probably that age group, and the other ones are really similar.
And this is just a fun fact, but right now in our neighborhood association limits, there are 4 houses that are currently listed for sale that are all estate homes. So the older generation is slowly moving out and these younger generations are moving in. So Susan Johnston with Central Church had a really good idea to bring in some of the more family-based organizations and make it more of a general community fair. So I definitely feel like there's going to be room to grow the event and maybe not schedule it on such a busy weekend next year. But it doesn't just serve our neighborhood. It really truly serves a bigger part of the city. So it's definitely worth continuing. I think. So.
Yeah, it was really well done. And the weather.
And the weather was perfect.
We had 700 more people than we got 11,384 people. More people. In 2020 than we did in 2000.
Yeah, so it's a 9% population growth.
Yeah, we talked about that.
So it was how many, 11,000?
11,384 for Seabrook Indians in the last 10 years. And Des Moines had 10,704 Des Moineites in the 10-year period.
All right. Well, I'm not bragging about our Saturday. We'll move on to paving for progress on the Chandler Street and 20th Street Southwest area.
Yeah, so this was the last notice that was issued on August 12th. It says, with utility work as well as pavement prep activity completed, the first pavement placement on Chandler Street and 20th Street is expected to begin by the end of the week, aka last Friday. Weather permitting, after the newly placed pavement is open to traffic, driveways in these areas will be graded and paved, and disturbed areas will be restored. In addition to the pavement placement, remaining work such as sidewalk at the entrance of Jefferson High School off 20th Street will be completed prior to the start of the new school year. Then we will proceed with placing the remaining pavement on 20th Street. Work on 20th Street is anticipated to wrap up this fall, with the remaining work on the Chandler Street loop to carry over into 2022. So if you are driving the loop and you're coming up Chandler Street, heading southwest, not good at direction, sorry. That part of the loop is going to be completed this year, and then they were hopeful to finish the other side of the loop closer to the 20th Street entrance, near Jefferson's entrance this year, but timing wise, I don't think that's possible. So there's just a short chunk of Chandler that will be finished in the spring. I did have contact from a neighbor on our Facebook page who actually had a really great question as to the no parking signs that are on the Chandler Street loop. Those are typically up for Jefferson, to avoid the Jefferson congestion for families who are parking in a residential area. Those signs were removed by the contractors. So I've reached out today to Pierre Tobin as well as our city contact just by email to see if those are getting reinstalled or how we're going to avoid that issue. If maybe there's just going to be construction stuff parked in the street to avoid that, I don't know. But I will be following up on that tomorrow with a phone call rather than an email, just to get that question answered so we know moving forward what the plan is. So, did anybody have any questions on paving for progress otherwise?
I have the last month picture. Is that they still do?
The picture's still valid, but the information's outdated. That's fine.
So if you need a picture,
And we
I've got to decide what to do.
every time the city sends a paving for progress notice, we do make sure to put that on the Canada website. So in case you're not signed up for those emails, you would still get the information.
What you need.
I go up there all the time.
Recycle, yes.
We did get our sidewalks fixed in our street this last week. Thank you so very much for doing that. We only got a couple of stones you ran off. We're looking great. So, yeah, it was nice. We came in Monday and told them this is what they're gonna do. And then Tuesday, we had the racial party in my backyard, and they were talking to the contractors, and so we're gonna do this, and this. And I was supposed to be Monday, and here it's Tuesday, nothing. On Wednesday, they came in, took out all the old, graded it. An hour later, their crew came in, formed it up, graded it all out, and poured it. And then 2 days later, they backfilled it now. And it's all smooth out to the curb, so they're very quick and very efficient with what they're doing, and they do it
bids came back way higher than we expected, so we had to reject those bids again and bid again. So it came out that high, but not as high as it was, so it was a little bit of a delay.
You know, the neighborhood really does appreciate,
Yeah.
you know, that you guys, it's a long process. We know that we're very thankful that you were here for us. Appreciate that. It's just actually- And last but not least, neighborhood business director fundraiser update.
As of today, we have $600 in donations, so we are well on our way to $2,000. 650, I mathed wrong,
And with 4 days.
yes. And, we have had one individual just make a donation to sponsor another business, so we're working on finishing that up. So again, if you have any neighborhood businesses, organizations, or even just any organization within Cedar Rapids that would be interested in being on our online business directory, our whole purpose is to try to connect neighbors with businesses that are in our area and that also support our neighborhood association. So if you can think of anybody that you'd like me to contact, or you just think, hey, this is a really cool place I like to shop, I want to sponsor a listing for them, the actual listing to just have your name and address is free. And then if you want to add a website, a phone number, a logo, if you want to be listed as a neighborhood business partner on our website, or be on our Facebook, or be in our meeting minutes, or be in our emails, there's other tiers of donations you can contribute to, and then obviously have those added benefits. So if you have any questions, feel free to send an email to the Cleveland email, or you can obviously just ask me. But I'm really hopeful that we'll get to that 2,000 just to help us have a little bit extra going forward, so.
I have to bring you, I'm sorry. Yeah, the church is sponsoring a picnic the 29th. We'll probably serve later afternoon because they're roasting a goat. And you think, oh, we have a lot of Somalian and other African American immigrants, and that's a treat for them. So, not this Sunday, but the next Sunday. Serving is probably around 4, I know it's on our board out here, so. Whatever.
Stop by and have some go.
Yeah, well, they have other things too, but that's kind of, you know, kind of special for some of our Somalian and other neighbors.
There you go.
And it's a neighborhood thing, everybody's invited. No cost, it's all free. Thank you.
Any other business?
With no other business, we'll adjourn the meeting. Thank you all for coming tonight and for your input. And,
Thank you for having me.
thank you so much for coming and helping us understand some of this.
Yeah.
It is